Welcome to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing how to remove upper and lower ball joints on a '03 to '08 Dodge Ram 25 and 3500. So first, let's go over what you need to start this project. You're going to need a 1/2 inch ratchet, a 3/8 ratchet, a pair of pliers, a pair of dikes to cut zip ties, a 14 millimeter socket to remove your brake and ABS bracket, an 18 millimeter socket to remove your hub bolts, a 22 millimeter socket depending on your ball joint press, a 24 millimeter socket if you have Moog ball joints. This is for the upper ball joint, and a 34 millimeter socket for your lower ball joints if you have Moog ball joints as well, along with an 8 millimeter wrench to remove your zerk fitting, and a snap-on press tool to remove the hub bolts, or you can use an extension and a socket. You're also going to need some snap ring pliers. I prefer just having a kit versus the kind with the interchangeable bits. A lot of times these bits aren't the exact size and you end up just slipping the whole time through the snap ring. I've had some really good luck with this kit. And also you'll need a ball joint press kit. I don't recommend to use the ones from AutoZone or anything like that because I've had a lot of trouble out of those in the past. And also you'll need a sledgehammer or a good size hammer to knock the knuckle off the ball joints. The easiest method to check the ball joints on these heavier trucks is to jack the front end up, stick a pry bar under it or a long pipe, and move it up and down. And if your ball joints are bad, you'll be able to feel slop in the tire. Or in my case, if you guys can hear it, you can hear the clunking and squeaking my ball joints are doing. As I begin to start moving this tire with the pry bar, if you check that top ball joint, you'll be able to see it moving inward towards the axle. That's a good indication this ball joint's worn. Once you have your tire off, you have two 18 millimeter bolts to take off this caliper, top and the bottom. And then you have a 14 millimeter bolt here to take off these lines. What you first want to do is take off that bracket for the lines so you don't kink them and stress them out once you pull that caliper off. So you just take the bolt out, let it hang at the bottom. And take your two 18 millimeter bolts out. And grab you a rubber mallet and hit the caliper off. Don't forget to undo your ABS also so you don't rip it out. Now what you want to do is prepare to pull the axle spindle off. And first, we're going to unhook this ABS line. So we're going to cut this zip tie. And right here, there's an indentation where that plug sits into your wheel well. You just want to pull this red tab up, press down on this black tab, and it'll separate. Unhook your ABS line completely from your brake line. Set it hanging to the side. You have four 18 millimeter bolts holding this hub on. The best method I've found to get this hub off is to press it off with your gearbox. But I only recommend this if you have a diesel and you have an actual gearbox versus a rack and pinion. And you can get a socket and an extension to press off these bolts to help push out this hub, or you can get a snap-on tool that's specifically made for this and you don't have to worry about your extension breaking or anything like that. So you just want to loosen these bolts about 3/4 to an inch and then slowly press this out with your power steering. This is how your setup should look with your tool or your extension and socket. So now what I'm going to do is have somebody start the truck, and she's going to turn the wheel, and it's going to slowly press this out. Now this hub has play in it, you can basically just take the bolts out. You don't have to press it anymore because it's completely broke loose. Now that all your bolts are completely out, grab your ABS wire. You can pull on this rotor to get your hub and your axle spindle out. Depending on what ball joints you have, it's going to depend on your size and if you have a cotter pin at the bottom or not. So these are Moog ball joints, and the top ball joint is a 24 millimeter socket, and the bottom ball joint is a 34 millimeter socket in order to get this knuckle off. So you don't want to take these bolts completely out, except for the bottom one. Top one, you want to take it to the very end of the bolt, because this knuckle is going to be stuck and you're going to have to hit it with a sledgehammer. And this top bolt or top nut will help catch the knuckle so it doesn't slam on the ground. This ball joint shouldn't have any play at all, and it's got a pretty good amount in it. And the bottom seems to be pretty bad too. This bottom ball joint has a snap ring in it. First, you're going to have to take out this Zerk fitting, an 8 millimeter wrench, if you have a Zerk fitting. I didn't have a correct cup to press out this top ball joint, so I ended up getting a 30 millimeter deep well socket I had laying around, cut it in half, and it fit perfect in there. This setup here looks like it's going to work. And top ball joint is out. This is the setup for my bottom ball joint. We're going to push the ball joint down through that coupling and into that spacer with a through hole through it. So it looks like this collar there was a little too small and it might have got hung up a little bit. Easy fix.